The state opening of Parliament. The Lord Great Chamberlain bears the imperial state crown into the robing room. The crown is the ancient symbol of supreme authority. For 40 years, it has been worn by Queen Elizabeth II. It was in Kenya on February the 6th, 1952, that the Queen heard of her accession to the throne.
Her tour of the Commonwealth cancelled. The princess we knew as a girl and watched in the even growth of her stature comes back to meet her ministers as Queen over the great lands that for 15 years acknowledged her father as head.
In a way, I didn't have an apprenticeship. My father died much too young, and so it was all a very sudden kind of taking on and making the best job you can. It's a question of maturing into something that one's got used to doing and accepting the fact that here you are and it's your fate, because I think continuity is very important. It is a job for life.
Continuity and tradition. The Queen is now one of the longest-serving heads of state in the world. The ceremony of monarchy does not change, but behind the pageantry is a different world. November 1990. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Queen's pipe major plays on the terrace of her London home, Buckingham Palace. A daily ritual begun by Queen Victoria 150 years ago. Beyond this 40-acre garden, it's a season of discord. Iraq has invaded Kuwait and holds Westerners hostage. There's a threat of war. But for the 368 people who work at the palace, it's business as usual this morning. The Queen spends more time opening letters than Parliament's. Today's business, brought to her by her private secretary, Sir Robert Fellows, includes a last look at the script of the Christmas message.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Robert.
The voice sounds a little bit better, ma'am.
Yes, it's getting better, I think.
It's a slow job, though.
Well, it's, there's a lot of people who've got it, I think. It's rather difficult to avoid getting.
Yes. Ma'am, you've got the latest text, I think, of the broadcast, which I've been having a go at over the last week or two. And I did, incidentally, show it the other day to the Prime Minister, who seemed, on the whole, to like it. He had one or two rather good suggestions, which I'll come to as we go through.
Yes, I did mention it to him. The difficulties of trying to get something at this particular juncture, you know.
The Gulf is going to be uppermost in everyone's mind, and I think they'd be amazed if it wasn't the first thing you turned to anyway, and I hope it's not too gloomy, that. The tricky business, of course, is the hostages, who will be nearly all out by then, I suspect. The Foreign Secretary is very keen to mention the ambassadors. It now looks as if the chap in Kuwait's going to be out by then. I see in the papers today he's going to come out. Hookie Walker, I think, will still be in Baghdad. And that was the Prime Minister.
He doesn't have all those people in tents in his garden.
No, and he's not doing his own cooking either, I think. The contentious bit, I think, is the next paragraph.
Well, maybe one might soften it down a bit.
Violent and vociferous is too sharp.
I think you
Perhaps
might have
one
just
adjective,
one.
yes, right. It sounds a bit too Churchillian, I think.
Well, yes, it's also very difficult to say if one's
Vociferous
speaking.
is all right, ma'am. Would you be happy with that?
Well, at least we managed to mention Christmas.
Yes.
November the 30th. The royal train is on its way north.
Yes, equally. I mean, I feel slight disappointment rather than anger. But,
Among the support team of a dozen or so is Charles Anson, the Queen's new press secretary, and Richenda Elton, one of her ladies-in-waiting. The party also includes the equerry, Blair Stewart Wilson.
Quiet way, I'd be grateful.
The Queen makes about 30 of these away-day visits a year. Every detail of the two-day trip has been checked on the spot by one of the Queen's staff. In this case, her Deputy Private Secretary, Sir Kenneth Scott.
1:30 arrival, and Mr. Gibb, the President, is going to present you with a rugby ball and 6 rugby jerseys for the grandchildren of assorted sizes.
Even for the girls.
Even for the girls, yes. It's fair in for girls to wear rugby jerseys.
And a plaque outside, is there?
And then a plaque outside.
Is that another train, Joe?
This is small children rushing about at each other in the combat room. And then
plaque?
Another plaque. In the main lounge downstairs, there will be 4 tables with staff and residents sitting at them. And at each table there will be 2 vacant chairs. And the idea is that you and Richenda would move from table to table and talk to people while they're sitting down. We thought that would be easier for them.
All right.
Then another plaque.
Another plaque.
Another plaque.
I don't think you can stay in London all the time. You have to visit other parts of the country to either find out what's going on or try and encourage people in different areas, some of which have unemployment, some of which have new factories. And I think the possibility of meeting more people is very important. A lot of people don't come to London very often, so we travel to them instead.
4 plaques, 2 town halls, 1 sports centre, 1 new ship, 1 new bridge, and 1 new bypass later, the day ends at a retirement home in Heckmondwike, Yorkshire. This is not the Queen as head of state. Nothing in the Constitution says she has to come here. She's here as head of the nation, the personal focus of people's loyalty and affection.
It's very nice.
Yes, yes.
And you're a resident here, are you? You live here in the...
No, I live at Sisek Mount.
Oh, do you? Yes.
A number of these
come in.
ladies. A number of these ladies have come temporarily to stay here.
Thank you.
The home that they're living in is being refurbished. So
Oh,
they've
really?
Come temporarily
Yes,
to
so we're
stay.
at-
So you've had to come
Yeah.
here.
Yes, yes.
They look after you well, don't
Yes,
they?
yes, very well.
And you have a room here of your own,
Yes,
do you?
yes,
That must be
bedroom.
rather nice, isn't it, a bedroom?
Yes.
And we don't see enough of you now.
Well, I'll have to try. I haven't been round here for some time.
No, they give it down on wireless. Oh, 20 years indeed.
I
About.
think it must be, yes.
Back to pageantry and ceremony. Back to Buckingham Palace. A formal welcome to another head of state. There are usually 2 such visits a year, though a foreign head of state will be invited once only during his time in office. Today, the Queen's guest is Francesca Cossiga, President of the Republic of Italy. Now is the time for the exchange of gifts and honours. It's a way of tempering the formality of a state event with the friendliness of a family occasion.
Well, now, the official
Oh,
present.
yes, thank you very
is
much.
this
Yes, I know of Bath,
of the
the
bath,
famous.
yes. Which is a present which is given with a great deal of pleasure.
Very pleasure for me.
And this is a slightly more personal present.
Oh, thank you.
Of some, it's of China, which I think the
Thank you.
history of it is in there.
Thank
So I
you.
hope it will remind you of your
Thank you
visit
very
here.
much. Oh, this is for my
And
wife.
that is for your wife,
Oh, thank you very much.
which is a small
a small
clock.
clock.
This
This is yours.
is a letter from my
Oh,
husband.
thank you very much.
And we hope.
And also, I hope you like these.
And your
Well,
picture too.
I'm afraid you get that as well.
2 very beautiful boys, eh?
Yes.
2 very beautiful boys. So, oh, thank you.
Busy reading.
Do you know that I love the books?
Well, we know you do too, so.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank
You
you.
might like this is a book of clocks.
Oh, the clocks. Thank
The
you.
Queen's house.
Thank you very much.
This is lovely, isn't it? Very heavy.
L'ho fatto fare apposta per vostra maestà.
Purpose for your majesty.
Oh, lovely.
È stato ordinato apposta.
Well, that's very kind indeed.
È un uomo.
Most grateful.
The season of gifts. It's the week before Christmas, and the Regency Room at Buckingham Palace has become a small television studio to record the Queen's Christmas message.
All we need is something unobtrusive, a huge, great couple of Egyptians there know exactly what we want for Christmas.
The Queen made her first broadcast on Children's Hour in 1940. This year, the producer is David Attenborough. The stars of his films don't often use scripts and teleprompter.
When you're ready, ma'am.
Over the years, I have dwelt on the happier side of life in my Christmas broadcasts. We need reminding of it, particularly at Christmas time. For it seems to me that there is one deep and overriding anxiety for us all, on which we should reflect today. That is the threat of war in the Middle East. The servicemen in the Gulf who are spending Christmas at their posts under this threat are much in our thoughts.
This year, there have been, I hope, times of happiness and good cheer for most of us. My family, for instance, has been celebrating my youngest grandchild's christening. I hope that all of us lucky enough to be able to enjoy such gatherings this Christmas will take time to count our blessings. The nannies were sitting in the next.
Yes.
Didn't want to go to them.
Have you had some?
He wanted our cousins.
She's quite happy when she's with the children, isn't she?
Very happy. Lovely smile. Beaming.
Good.
Do you want the rest of it? Do you want any more?
Sandringham, 2 days before Christmas. The christening party of Princess Eugenie of York, the Queen's 6th grandchild, and 6th in line to the throne. In fact, 10 of the first 11 in line are here.
That's quite funny. Right, off you go. Photograph time.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Another one?
Well, yes, yet another one. We'll be there so quickly. Now, if you're just standing here in a line, you'll be fine.
Don't go away, just right here.
Good morning, Your Majesty. Just in a line here, with the little ones in front. Princess Margaret, could you help us? Thank you. We've got a young man behind we can't see, actually. Could you come a bit forward? That's lovely. That's fun. Your Majesty, we can't quite see you, so if you could just stand back a little bit there. Thank you. Princess Anna, I can't see. Can I come around here? Ready? Looking at the camera, everybody. Thank you. Lovely.
Sandringham is an escape place, but it is also a working place and a commercially viable bit of England. I like farming. It's not very easy nowadays. I like animals. I wouldn't be happy if I just had arable farming. I think that's very boring. But I suppose that because it's an inherited place, one's known it ever since one was a child. I knew how much my father had enjoyed it. Well, in fact, all my family, ever since King Edward bought it, they've all enjoyed being there. And they've very, very much involved with the people who live on the estate, so that one has a responsibility towards them, very much. I have the stud there too, which is my sort of responsibility, and that I enjoy doing. King Edward put the stud there, and he enjoyed racing, and I think we've all enjoyed racing. But it isn't a profitable venture at the moment because the problems of racing are so very great. But I think that one always, as a human being, one always has hope, and one always has perhaps the gambling instinct that one's horse is going to be better than the next man's horse, and that's why one goes on doing it.
I don't know, he must have knocked it, because...
Couldn't have got better so quickly.
No, it couldn't have. If it had been a proper tendon injury, it wouldn't have got better. It's a pity, because if he hadn't done that, he should have won the Derby. I mean, he beat the Derby winner twice, and the Derby second twice.
What are you looking at?
You can see those mares right over in the you can see Expansive.
You certainly got good eyesight.
Yeah. I suppose he's at least good.
Listen, it's a very level walk, that.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Another thing, you see, nearly overreached, see?
Yes.
I mean, he's very, very nearly.
Well, we'll have to be careful of those. They're very flat feet, aren't they? I love this bit. It's very sort of...
rolling down.
Norfolk, isn't it? Now anybody can say that Norfolk is flat, right?
Yes, we've done all right. We've done the holes and we got the rough ones.
That's a police superintendent there.
I know, that's what made me wonder. I thought they'd arrested him. There's nothing like catching the chief superintendent poaching rabbits, is it?
We're going to have a go at this ivy on the bottom of these trees.
Yes, please.
We've,
Very good idea.
yes, well, it'll kill it and then we'll pull it off when it's all died down.
In my grandmother's day, there would never have been any ivy anywhere. She had passionate hatred for it.
Hmm. I thought we'd go to the kennels now, ma'am.
Right.
Going to take roller now and get your 2 dummies.
Where do you put it? Oh, yes, I see. Trouble is that I'm not watching him.
During the summer, you see, when you're training them, and you have to sit steady. It's all. I got it. Oh, no.
Yeah, but it's his dog, you see. It's so cruel.
He'll probably go back.
Bray, you're not supposed to do that. I won't hear. Go away. I'm not here. Go and do your stuff. Bray. Go on. Go on.
Call him, Glenn. Now come back to here, and then we'll work them down the way.
It's very grown up to be able to do all that on your own, isn't it? It's even better than...
That's not Steve. That's not Steve. That's not Steve.
Let's go and shout for Robert, shall we?
I can push it.
You can push it.
I can't.
Righto. Is it your granny that's shouting? I'll come along then.
Thank you, Robert.
The Queen spends Christmas and New Year at Sandringham, but wherever she is, one of her 3 private secretaries is always in attendance. Sir Robert Fellows is son of the land agent who once ran the estate here at Sandringham. A city broker for 14 years, he's married to the Princess of Wales' elder sister.
Jane went the other day with Laura and with the 2 little ones, and it's a very, very long do.
Is it? Oh.
2.5 hours. It was quite long for any child. Ma'am, it looks rather as if people have come alive after
A long gap.
After New Year, and they got quite a lot. Just on the top here, there's some Christmas cards you might have to see. That's
Thank you.
an irregular one. Several signings, ma'am. There's a couple of remissions. The first one is a very unusual one. This chap discovered something rather strange going on, and in fact he got 2 good marks, and so he's getting remissions, even though he's got a fairly long list of offences himself.
I think anything to do with strange ways is rather interesting.
Then the other one is a chap who helped out when there was obviously a riot of some kind. The National Canine Defence League, ma'am, they wondered if in honour of their centenary, you'd become patron of the charity as a whole. I had my doubts, ma'am, about adding to your 800-odd patronages at this stage, particularly as you have the RSPCA and the Dogs Home as well.
National Canine Defence League.
I didn't know much about them, and I could find out a bit more if you thought it was worth
I think that'd be
thinking
an
about.
excellent idea.
In London, the palace feels cut off by the snow.
Mamma tried on Thursday night to go out to dinner with the Rothschild in Holland Park or Ladbroke Grove or something. She set out at 8.
Yes.
She got there at 9:45.
That's, yes. I think it must be just next door to where we live, I think, yes. That's right. I heard all kinds of terrible stories about people who tried to do things on
And I said, why
Thursday
didn't
night.
you turn around and go home? She said, I couldn't. There was no way. I couldn't get out. Couldn't move. I thought it was better just to go on. You see the balloons are still stuck in the tree there.
Yes, we were trying to get the keeper of the British Hearse to take a shotgun out.
Oh, well, they're rather pretty. They look rather better than a lot of crows.
Yes, but they look awful. But then, because they're just little bits
They're horrible bits of shredded rubber.
Shredded rubber.
Yes, like after the green petrol law.
Yes, they hit the trees and exploded, and the garden was absolutely full of dead balloons. It's very, very disagreeable.
Not very ecological, really.
Not at all ecological.
There are over 20 billion portraits of the Queen in existence, if you count stamps, coins and banknotes. The painter of this extra one is Andrew Festing, son of a field marshal.
Did your father paint? Or
No. Oh, no,
He was more interested in the...
But he was, I do get it from him. I mean, I think I get it from his side of the family. And he was quite artistic.
He was a collector, wasn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yes, he was a manic collector.
But he also could explain about what his collection. That was what was so clever.
Yes, yes.
I mean, to me, I always personally think pistols and those sort of things hanging on the wall are very dull. But to have him explain it to us was absolutely fascinating because they were real things to him. They were, objects of.
Yes.
And he could almost imagine who would have used them or what they would have been used for.
Yes. He was, I mean, the whole thing was, when he was relatively old, he used to go for walks outside, carrying all these old guns and pistols in his pockets. And he always travelled everywhere with a pair of flintlock pistols.
Did he?
Stuffed away in some pocket.
Did he?
Whenever he came to London, he used to carry them in the train with him. So he lived this sort of fantasy life almost. That he was some 18th century character, I think.
But that probably explains how so many of our pistols have disappeared or found in some sales catalogue. People do things like that. They think they're somebody else and walk off with them.
I don't know.
He didn't, not necessarily, but I mean other people like him.
The gas lamps are lit for the palace's grandest party of the year, the annual reception for the diplomatic corps, with 1,300 guests. Foreign diplomats are accredited to the Court of St. James, that is, to the Crown, not to the government.
We're all in blue. Something very wrong. Are you green? You're green, it's all right.
The garter.
Thistle.
Colour.
Thistle. Oh, thistle. Yes, right. Now, do you think they're ready?
Yes, ma'am, they are indeed ready. And the list that was submitted to you by the Marshal, they're all present, other than unfortunately, the ambassador for Chad isn't able to be present. Otherwise, everybody else is.
And the poor Kuwaiti ambassador's wife is not here either.
Unfortunately, she's not here due to the fact that her brother has died. And so
murdered.
she's murdered. You're murdered.
Murdered.
Lining the picture gallery and 6 other state apartments are some 130 ambassadors in order of diplomatic precedence. The Iraqi ambassador is not among them.
The ambassador of Kuwait, Your Majesty.
nice to see you here this evening.
Thank you very much.
Very sorry your wife couldn't be here this evening.
Thank you.
You have
Yes, definitely.
very sad family problems, I guess. Right. Well,
Thank you, Your Majesty, for taking notes of that. Thank you for your kind words yesterday about my country.
well, we take a great interest. Hope that all will be well in the end.
The Ambassador of Senegal, Your Majesty.
Bonsoir.
V1, rotate. V2, positive rate, gear up.
War in the Gulf looms closer by the hour. This is a one-day visit by the Queen's flight to RAF Larbrook in Germany. Tornadoes from Larbrook are being prepared for action in the desert. On this occasion, the advance reconnaissance has been carried out by the Queen's Assistant Private Secretary, Robin Janvrin.
This is all indoors, is it?
This is all indoors, yes. We will go into their conference room, which is on the edge of the runways, for a presentation from Group Captain Buckland, who will concentrate very much on what they've been doing for the Gulf.
Oh, right.
The little girl is called Bree, and I'm assured that that's how it's pronounced. And then they have a very large, these two large schools, and they'll have all the children outside the officers' mess.
And they're children from the station, are they?
Yes, yeah, from the station, civilians and the service personnel. And most, I think most of them under the age of about 13. The timing there is a little bit tight. I think it will work.
No shaking hands?
No shaking hands, ma'am. They're in groups. Lunch is straightforward. And then... We hope. The aim of the next two phases is to drive you past some of their reinforced hangar areas to see a few of the aircraft taking off, but then to take you to one big hangar where they've brought all the displays, which are listed, to one area. And at each display there'll be someone briefing you on what's there.
I always think it's rather sad that there's so much the square on it. It's sort of...
It's not a very pretty airplane.
No.
It's
Not really.
very ugly, but it's a very potent one. Because the one thing about the tornado is that it gives us not just a day operating capability, but night and bad weather as well, with quite a powerful weapon carrying capability.
Yes, and I imagine that where it's going now is very useful.
Yes.
BBC News at midnight. This is Simon Vance. The American military in Saudi Arabia has just announced that war has begun with Iraq. There's been no confirmation yet from Washington. Earlier, reports from Baghdad said that anti-aircraft fire started up in the city a short time ago. Correspondents in the city report trails of tracer fire and starbursts all over the city.
With the outbreak of war on January the 16th, a special royal visit to Portsmouth has been quickly arranged. HMS Cardiff and HMS Gloucester are now in the Gulf, and other ships are getting ready to go. Some wives haven't seen their husbands for months.
And what is your husband doing in Cardiff?
He's a radar, in radar.
And was he out in the first...
Yes, well, over a year now they've been gone, really, except for the short time they came back. So he's just waiting to hear now when he's going to be a dad.
Is this your first child?
Yes.
Yes. And is it quite soon?
2 days' time.
Oh, good heavens, how brave of him to come. You have to keep a very strict eye on that now. Don't show me very strict. Oh, well, all good wishes.
Thank you very much, Mum.
The Queen's grandfather, father, husband, and 2 of her sons were in the Navy, so she and Prince Philip find themselves in familiar surroundings in HMS Nelson.
Let's just say thank you for mentioning us in the Christmas Day speech. I know my husband listened to it on the World Service, and he was really pleased that you'd remembered them. And he said if you get the chance to say thank you.
Yeah, he actually heard it.
He listened to it on the World
Very
Service on
nice.
Christmas Day. He was very pleased that you mentioned them, because it made it feel that at least they won't be forgotten by the people back home.
Has he done both trips?
Yes, he has.
I think a lot of people have been in very much the same position. In fact, a lot of wives had babies since the ship's gone.
Since the ships have left.
It's very sad, really, but it's a fact of life, isn't it?
I think naval wives are given some extra sort of strength to be able to cope.
You're right. It must be from somewhere.
It's February the 25th, 1991, and the long-threatened land offensive has just begun.
Secretary of State for Defence, Your Majesty.
Majesty.
Good evening.
Thank you very much.
You might take a seat. Well, it's very kind of you to come and spare the time to tell me about
We
the
had
awful things that are going on.
a good run around the House of Commons. I made a statement. in
You
the
made a
House,
statement. I haven't had a chance to.
which was sandwiched on television between the American and British press briefings. But it's been a good start. Certainly, I mean, I said it's 38 and a half hours since this ground campaign.
It's a very short time, isn't it?
And it is looking encouraging. But now we're into the critical period.
Windsor Castle, early spring. The brief Gulf War is over, and in happier circumstances, the Queen has invited a group of guests from British public life to have dinner here and stay for the night. It's called a dine and sleep. Political opponents meet as fellow guests, with perhaps an archbishop thrown in.
These two blank shields up here, which are the two people who were Knights of the Garter, because all these are the shields of the Knights of the Garter.
Yes. And then
And they were trees. They were all both of them degartered. All right.
The guided tour after dinner always ends with a carefully chosen exhibition in the library.
But you're touching sort of, I almost feel holy things. It's so ancient, isn't it? And this kind of thing.
I've got the Flank Society here in February 1898. And they sang, according to Queen Victoria, they sang God Save the Queen in Welsh. All of the miners, she says. I suspect this one by Lord John Wesley himself, yes. No,
That's her writing, you see.
that's the Queen's writing.
Her diary. And this is her diary, which unfortunately was rewritten. Because
By another scribe.
Princess Beatrice, yes, she tore up. She thought her mother's diaries were too frank. And so she destroyed them. She rewrote them.
And it's the expurgated version.
And that's her expurgated version. But I mean, still very, very interesting.
It's real copyplate, Victorian copyplate. With a real rhythm of writing.
But her writing is very difficult to understand.
Would Sir Henry thank... You've got a crib there, Kenneth. William's Harcourt. I thought you... Sir You're doing very well. Would Sir Henry thank Sir William Harcourt, who was the Home Secretary. I must say, as you watch these records, you're glad of the word processor.
Some lovely ones. Beautiful. Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, they are just stacked away, you know.
Well, they can't be left out, you see, because they suffer so.
Definitive edition of the plays of J.M. Barrie. That would be all right, wouldn't it?
Sorry.
See, that's the library one.
Yes, quite.
Peter Pan. He was the most wonderful storyteller.
Oh, absolutely.
As children, we used to go to tea, and he'd tell the most wonderful stories. Yes, he just happened to be the sort of person that could tell children stories. It didn't matter if you were just sitting at the tea table. You know? It was very interesting. And of course, boringly, if one was a small child, one didn't realise what a good storyteller one was listening to. If only one had known. Love that. That shows that the man cleaning the books has been around.
And this book, when you say you use this book at your coronation?
Is that the prayer book?
This was the...
Well, that's the service.
The Book of Service, yeah, it's
And
the service
I mean, because my grandfather and my father had passion for writing and things, so I thought I'd better do the same thing.
Well, absolutely.
But you see, nobody writes anymore, so there will be nothing left. I keep a diary, but it's not really a diary like Queen Victoria's, you know, or as detailed as that. It's quite small.
But you write it in your own hand.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I think that's terribly important.
Well, I can't write any other way.
Back at the office, the daily routine begins with the Royal Mail. Most of it, like the Queen's diary, written by hand. She receives between 200 and 300 letters a day.
Well, I've always had rather a sort of feeling that the letters are rather personal to oneself, you know, because people write them thinking that I'm going to open them and read them. I don't open all of them, obviously, because I don't have time to do that. But it does certainly give me, I suppose, because one gets perhaps even sort of a bit more remote, it gives one an idea of what is worrying people and what actually they feel that I could do to help. And, I mean, there are occasions when I can help. I can pass things on to the right authorities, or I can, even in some cases, write to various organisations who will look into it. But I've always had this feeling that letters are written to me, and I like to see what people want to write to me. I think in a way one feels that there is a sort of, the buck stops here, so to speak, you know, and that I'm the one. I had a letter this morning about something, and he said, I've been going round and round in circles, but you were the only person who can stop the circle, and you will be able to fix it. I thought that was rather nice.
The Queen was most interested to hear of this gentleman.
Many letters are written to the Queen as a private individual. Letters from children or well-wishers, or even people wanting to know where to buy a corgi. These are answered on her behalf by her ladies-in-waiting, in this case, Lady Susan Hussey.
And now this is to the jigsaw puzzle people, you know, who send the Queen jigsaw puzzles to do during the holidays at Sandringham. And the puzzle, unfortunately, had 2 missing when it arrived at Sandringham this time. And the lady is writing to apologise for this and saying she promises she will do the puzzle herself before she sends it next time. But as the Queen says on this note here, I hope she does, because it's a very difficult puzzle to do on your own.
Other letters have official implications, often involving a local council or government department. They normally go to the private secretaries for investigation and reply.
And then another one we've had in here from a councillor from Newcastle on Tyne, writing on behalf of one of his constituents, saying that he objects to his poll tax taking into consideration his war pension. Now, I've rung the Department of the Environment, who tell me that, in fact, it's a matter for the rebate side of the Department of Social Services.
Yeah.
So I think if that's all right with you, I'll telephone and then find out if we can give them any other information.
Okay.
And the one previous to that is I'm in touch with the Scotland Yard Solicitors Department. This person runs a ambulance service to help the homeless people in London.
Yes.
And he says he's being harassed by Kennington Police. He's obviously had problems before, because he's had a hearing before magistrates at a court.
Another way of keeping in touch with life outside the closed circle of the royal household is the private audience, usually lasting 20 minutes.
Audiences are my way of meeting people without anybody else listening. And that gives one a very broad picture of what is actually going on either in government or in the civil service. A lot of them are regular ones, you know, but you can ask to see anybody you want to see.
The Honourable Mr. Justice Blofeld, Your Majesty.
I mean, if one meets a lot of people, one just does get to know what's going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And also the badge of the Knight Bachelor.
Thank you very much. That's
Which is
ma'am.
it's rather a nice one.
Yes.
It's not very weighty.
No, I didn't know.
A bit too much
I didn't realise one got a badge.
Yes, yes, you do. And the fact that there's nobody else there, it gives them a feeling that they can say what they like, which after all is part of the sort of basis of where I get my information from. I suppose that the crime is still, I'm afraid, rather sort of in the increase, isn't it? And
I don't know what's ever going to stop it. Whether it's the fact that they're discovering more. I think with all I think white-collar crime and all this sort of fraud.
yes, there's this new case just started.
Yes, it is. Yes, yes.
Which is going to take months, I think.
Well, it's going to be an absolute nightmare.
The Ambassador of the United States of America, Your Majesty.
Because the president's just seen Mr. Yeltsin too, hasn't he? Which is must be quite.
Mr. Yeltsin came to Washington just about a week ago, and they had about 90 minutes together. And then the president came out, and I think he wanted to make the effort both to recognize the fact that there was now a Russian leader who had won a popular vote, and there had not been one of those in a very long time, but also to recognize the legitimacy of Mr. Gorbachev.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Your Majesty.
It's now April, and Windsor Castle is getting ready for its big event of the year, the 3-day state visit by a former shipyard electrician from Gdansk, now the President of Poland, Lech Wałęsa. He is the 65th head of state to visit Britain in the Queen's reign, and the first ever from Poland. He and his wife will be staying in the 6-room principal suite. Among the previous occupants, the King of Spain, the Emir of Bahrain, and President Reagan.
A lot of the visits nowadays have a very strong political tone to them, and we are really the hosts, basically. I mean, we give the entertainment initially, and have the people to stay, hoping to give them a nice time to remember. And obviously, we keep up as many of the traditions as we can that are sensible to keep, like going in carriages.
The high point of all state visits is the banquet on the first evening. The table settings are of legendary splendor. Tonight's pudding service is French, late 18th century. The dessert service for fruit will be the Royal Minton, made for Queen Victoria in 1876.
I think in a way, it's quite an old-fashioned idea that you do put out the red carpet for a guest. I mean, I think people don't really realise this, that, you know, I do tell the guests that we do put on our best clothes and everybody dresses up. And the best china and the glass and the gold plate comes out, which otherwise doesn't see the light of day. So it's very nice to be able to use it and show it.
Where is she?
Well, she's sitting here, and I just got this message, and it's unfortunate she can't come, so we know we've got to take her out.
We have to put somebody from the household, a lady from the household.
Yes.
Who's in the overflow.
Well,
who have we got?
fortunately, there is one lady in the overflow, and that's Lady Mary Mumford. So we could bring her.
She'd do fine. Oh, no, she wouldn't.
No.
Because she's
She'd be related to the Earl Marshal.
She'd be related to the Earl Marshal. She'd be related to the Earl Marshal. She'd be related to the Earl Marshal.
Yes. She'd be related to the Earl Marshal. Yes. We'll have to do a double move somewhere.
Soon, the 160-foot-long mahogany table made for Queen Victoria will be glistening with silver-gilt cutlery and plate and some 800 Stourbridge crystal glasses engraved with the Queen's monogram. Meanwhile, the kitchen is preparing quail's eggs, to be followed by quenelle of turbot, then veal, and finally peaches toscane. Each course to be served simultaneously to 160 guests.
If you do put out the best china and glass, it doesn't necessarily make it overwhelming if you don't accept it as overwhelming. Because if people are kind to you and make you feel at home, I don't think that the outward and visible signs are really... It's what goes on inside that really matters. But sometimes it is worth explaining that we put it on, you know, especially... You know, we don't actually live like this all the time.
The flowers really are sensational. Most beautifully.
Very good, okay. Where's the middle?
It's opposite the fireplace.
Everything has to be ready by late afternoon for the Queen to make her tour of inspection with the Master of the Household, Sir Paul Greening.
The chairs are the same as mine. It doesn't make much odds, does it? And the flowers as usual so that we can see each other.
It's actually slightly more difficult to see this room.
Well, it is. I have moved the furniture.
Yes.
And I have lit the fire so that it looks quite sort of friendly-like. And, but he's amazed by the size of everything. That's what amused me.
Well, the rooms?
Yes, and he goes around, these only two English words are quite interesting words. And he goes around looking, you know, at everything. So
Good heavens, you could manage.
Well, it's further than that, but... You've met my mother and I see you again.
Też się spotkaliśmy ze wszystkimi.
Here's my daughter, Anne.
Very nice to meet you.
And Duchess of Kent.
Hi, Julie. My husband met you this morning.
That's the Duchess of Kent.
And there's Alexandra.
Pleased to meet you.
And his Ogilvy, her husband.
Sister.
Here's Michael Kent.
Her husband.
And his wife, Christine.
Сожалею, я только по-русски говорю, а не по-польски.
That's showing off. Showing off.
Very good at that.
My son, Edward. And Richard Gloucester. And his wife, Birgitta. So now you've met quite a number of the family.
Poznał pan już wielu członków naszej rodziny.
When I tell you, you go up to your number, take the fish, take it into the dining room, come back, there'll be a sauce. And take that into the dining room, come back again and take in your salad. And then stay in the dining room until your fish and your sauce has been served and clear it out to the Waterloo chamber. Okay?
She's very strict mother. Bardzo jest surową matką.
No tak, ale żoną bardziej.
But she's an even stricter wife.
So 16 horses.
Do you think we should... No. I'm not listening. Possibly explain that one. Do you think we should go along and we're going to meet the other guests?
I hope you've got comfortable shoes.
As usual.
Long walk.
Are we off?
I think we're off.
I think so.
Yes.
On the starter's orders.
very nice to be able to go to America. Post-Gulf War, I was able to say thank you, and they were able to say thank you.
How is it for length?
It's about state dinner, I should think, for 5-6 minutes, I would guess. The Queen took a certain amount out of the embassy's first draft.
I think it reads well. It's not too
The embassy were particularly keen to get those two inserts in, the one on the ethnic side of things.
The visit begins with an official welcome on the White House lawn from President Bush. Unfortunately, no one adjusted the podium, so instead of the head of state, the world's press and television see only the hat of state.
Mr. President, it is 15 years since our last visit to Washington, when, with a gallant disregard for history,
Through the perversity of publicity, this is to become the talking point of the trip.
200th anniversary of the founding of this great nation.
2 days later, the first ever address to the joint houses of Congress by a British sovereign, in a republic that became independent by armed revolution against her great-great-great-great-grandfather, George III, 2 centuries ago. It is a nerve-wracking occasion.
Yeah, I see.
And if you wanted to try that little thing at the beginning, ma'am, people I've talked to seem to think it would be a very good icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest before you say anything at all,
Yes.
when you go up there, you go straight to the podium, and I'll give you your speech as you
And
stand
wait
there.
there.
And you wait there for the welcome which comes from above, from the speaker who's sitting above you. And it is going to be built for you and not for anyone else this time. Our chap Ralph is next door. I'll go and ask that question, ma'am.
Yes, that would be very kind. Not something that I would ever have actually thought about beforehand, you know? A podium.
Of course, one forgets the president's quite tall.
Well, he's huge, really. He's very tall.
Ma'am, I've got Richard Ralph here from the embassy, who
Master.
can actually talk you every step of the way from the moment you get into the chamber.
No, I just wondered, because I presume I had my back to everybody, didn't I? I mean, I have my back to the people who are actually going to start.
You do. Would you like me to start from the moment you walk into the chamber?
No, because, I mean, somebody walks one in.
You'll be preceded down, and there will probably be congressmen who will lean out. They may well want to reach out to shake your hand as you proceed down towards the podium. And there will be an enormous amount of applause going on, and eventually that will die away, and then that is the moment for you to start your speech. I'm told there will be many interruptions.
Nice
Friendly
ones, I hope.
Friendly ones, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh.
I do hope you can see me today from where you are.
After Washington, 6 other cities, Miami and Tampa in Florida, then on to Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston in Texas. The Queen comes home. Her Majesty's yacht Britannia has sailed out to Miami to join the royal party.
This, I thought, for tonight was rather fascinating. From someone called Lady Grundy, and that is Prince Philip at school.
Amusing. Better not show it to him. It's all sweet, isn't it?
And I didn't know whether Charles told you, ma'am, but they've announced this morning that you're going to give a knighthood to General Schwarzkopf.
Oh, right. I don't mind that.
Yes. No, I think it was. Everyone was assuming you were going to do it, so it's probably a very good time.
Mm.
But actually, none of that, is there? Because it's.
No, I
it's
was
honorary.
just... but we've got the insignia, have we?
Yes, we have, ma'am, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This evening, the Queen is hostess to Florida's grandest society. At the top of the guest list are two former presidents of the USA.
Is there some decaffeinated?
It is decaffeinated.
Well, if you take a cup, we'll find some decaffeinated coffee. I hope. Do you have any decaffeinated coffee?
Yes, it's just coming through. John says he'll bring it through himself.
Thank you.
What?
It's coming.
Oh, well.
I mean, we try our best. It's coming.
Is that decaffeinated?
No. This is ordinary.
This is for the Queen.
We'll wait.
This is just coffee. There it is. It's coming.
Decaffeinated. Decaffeinated.
But you know what? It's getting...
Now we'd like to meet the president.
Which one?
It's amazing how much metal they put in. I have to carry a car to get through the airport security.
So yours sounds off?
Yes.
Mine must be more deep-seated because mine doesn't sound off.
I'm finding great comfort in the fact that even though it rained on the Queen today, it actually rained on the Pope when he was in Miami too.
Right.
So we're accustomed to showing our blessings on people by raining on them.
Now, if you've got 2/3 of the fund paying for the bureaucrats to give only 1/3 to the needy people, something's wrong there.
But you see, all the democracies are bankrupt now because, because of the way that the services have been planned for people to grab.
Well, I know we tried to get some of these things changed and reduce them. But, for example, we've got a rule that still to this day that a supervisor's salary is based on the number of people he supervises. Well, now,
Really?
you've got a group of people there that have no interest in reducing the payload, even if they can, because it'll reduce their salary.
Obviously, yes. It's extraordinary, isn't it, how... I mean, I think the next generation are going to have a very difficult time.
Back to base and the daily routine. Buckingham Palace is preparing for another influx of visitors. It's an investiture day, one of 17 this year. Some of the 3,000 men and women who have recently been given honours come with their families to receive the insignia personally from the Queen.
right-hand side. Steps on the right-hand side. Main entrance, behind the glass.
CBE Civil, 1 lady, yes. And a gentleman, 13. OBE Civil, 5 ladies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 21 male.
To go down on the stool, very simple. Grasp the handle with your right hand, put your left foot at the left side, and bend the right knee. The Queen will immediately touch you first on the right shoulder, and then on the left shoulder with the sword. She says nothing. So once you have received the accolade, stand up and come round to the left-hand side of the stool, where the Queen will attach to you the insignia that you're here to receive. As soon as the Queen has attached your insignia, she'll talk to you. She'll be actually talking to you while she's doing it. And then she will shake your hand. Please, the handshake is the signal that your time is up.
The most excellent order of the British Empire, the Venerable Thomas Dyson, Archdeacon of Bermuda.
One mustn't have a long conversation, obviously, because you'd never finish. The question you ask is what is you hope that you're going to get the answer that you want.
Knight's Bachelor.
It doesn't always happen.
See the Honour of Knighthood.
It's a very dingy world, otherwise.
That's better. Excellent. So looking around towards me. All right.
Don't worry, be all right.
Fine. Good. You keep it down that level. That's right. Lovely. Very nice.
The sport of queens. It's the 2:45 at Epsom, and the focus of attention in the royal box is the Queen's horse Enharmonic, one of the fancied runners. Unfortunately, Enharmonic finishes 4th.
Do you know that I haven't watched from a pair of binoculars for ages? Look at it, pouring with tears. Oh dear. I always watch on the television. It's the emotion. Perhaps. No, I watch on the television. No, Mummy, if you look into the wind like that, it's like looking at a deer. So I think it is.
After the race, the excuses. A post-mortem with the trainer, Lord Huntingdon.
We just have to find the right racetrack, I think.
He was moving up all the time.
Absolutely, yes. He said he just flattened out a little bit just right at the end. But he had an awful lot to do.
Yes. Whatever it was.
12 lengths, yes, which is fine if they are going to blow up in front and coming back. But if they're keeping going, you can't do it. No, you can't do it.
And now it's the big race, the Derby. An occasion for a national flutter, even up in the royal box, where the traditional sweepstake is drawn by the Queen.
Hector Protector.
Hector Protector.
Duke of Edinburgh. Star of the dance. Mr. Michael Oswald.
Knighted to the bed! Knighted to the bed, Lang!
Nothing. Lady Grimthorpe's got nothing. That's not bad. Mystica for Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. And you. And generous. The Queen. They're off!
Surprisingly sharp climb the first turn. It's Mystico the leader. Mystico is taking them. It's Mystico leading from Aracat. Generous place third.
Really mean that, do you?
Hector Protector for France in fighting. With Aracat up on the outside.
Oh, you studied him up now.
On the wrong leg. Look, it's on the wrong leg. No wonder it can't go around the corner. Pigots on the rails. And that's generous. That's generous, isn't it?
He's coming. He's still quite relaxed.
What colour's the Star of Gdansk? Oh, there.
Yes.
Whoops. You're all on the wrong leg. Who's miles behind? Oh.
There's 2 miles at the back of that
making significant progress, and then Hector Protector Hailsham with a run, 2 long on the wide outside of the back. They've got 2 far to go.
This is my friend who kissed my hand down there.
Come up after the next
They'll
race.
come up after the next race. All right.
I present you the Royal Box Sweepstakes. Many congratulations.
Kind of. Thank you very much. What do I get?
Well, you get £16.
£16?
£16 for winning.
The business for the Council, Your Majesty. Drafts of 7 orders in Council. One entitled the Consular Fees Amendment Order 1990.
A group of ministers attends the monthly meeting of one of the most ancient committees in the kingdom, the Privy Council. Orders in Council allow the government to make regulations without going back to Parliament. When the Queen formally approves, the new proposal becomes law.
Approved.
It's the grandest of rubber stamps.
Drafts of 17 orders in Council. One under the Universities of Oxford and Cambridge Act 1923. 2 appointing James Bennett, Esquire.
In a tradition started by Queen Victoria, the Council remains standing. It's a good way to keep meetings brief.
3 appointing Mrs. Marianne Doherty and 2 others to be 3 of Your Majesty's Inspectors of Schools in Scotland. 4 under the Burial Act 1853, and 5 to 17 confirming schemes made by the Church Commissioners.
Approved.
And that, Your Majesty, concludes the business for today's Council.
What a varied list, isn't it? We went through practically everything.
It's extremely varied today, Crown. Yes. I was fascinated to see that we still have to do in the Privy Council the Inspectors of Schools,
Yes.
which is obviously a throwback to the days before the Department of Education and Science Fund.
Yes, I think it must be. And also that Scotland is separate. Always does things in a slightly different way.
Scotland beckons. It's June the 28th, and the Queen is on her way to Holyrood. The railway chiefs are all aboard too, because this is the inaugural journey of the Intercity 225 from London to Edinburgh.
It was actually very funny because I remember when we arrived that day, there was still a little bit of the wall to be blown up, and they'd bored a small hole. And I was invited to look through, and when one looked through, one could see the French on the other side, and it brought home to us.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Extraordinary.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
first time for 8,000 years.
It was a very emotional thing there.
It was a
I saw
marvellous
the
day.
video of it.
But in the tunnels case, you're not building. Are you building new rolling stock and things to
Oh
go
yes.
through
This we're building new rolling stock, 30 new trains. And what we are keen to do is to get people as close as possible on that line who are commuting to their place of work, and hopefully we can achieve that. We looked at 80 options, which are now with the Secretary of State,
80?
80, yes.
Has
on
he
the
got
way
to
in.
pick up?
No, he narrowed it down to 4, I'm pleased to say, before it reached me.
We're down to 4, and we've
That was my
recommended
reaction
one
as well when I heard about the 80.
The palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh was once the home of Mary Queen of Scots. There are 2 garden parties here this week. The guests at this one will feel at home. They are all gardeners.
How long have you been the head gardener?
About 9.5 years. Yes.
And what sort of garden is it? Is it
It's mixed vegetable, herbaceous, shrubs, just about everything.
A bit of everything.
Yes.
Raises all the inconvenient moments, doesn't it?
Lucky
when
to.
one-
Well, the wife's the gardener, I'm the hard worker.
It's also therapeutic, isn't it?
It is, yes,
It does
right.
soothe, I think. a bit, too. I'm only a weeder, really.
My mother actually taught you, ma'am, to make
Rolled
butter
butter pats. I thought you were going to say that, because I'm rather proud of the fact that I can roll a butter pat, you
Yeah.
see. And I have to show everybody now here how to do it.
How to do it?
Yes. It's all fun, that. That was your mother.
That was my mother.
How very fascinating.
Following the custom of Queen Victoria, the Queen spends a week at Holyrood each summer. Wherever she is, she tries to catch the television news programs. After all, she has met an awful lot of the people who appear in them.
From the BBC, with Peter Sissons and Anna Ford.
Yugoslavia's new president calls for an immediate truce as a ceasefire falls apart and fierce fighting breaks out. Tanks blast their way through roadblocks on the borders of the breakaway Republic of Slovenia. And federal jets attack targets in Slovenia, including its capital. But the most serious fighting was on the border with Croatia.
Today's news of civil strife is of more than ordinary interest. The Queen is about to make an unannounced flying visit to Northern Ireland, her first since 1977. It was arranged with the highest security and the deepest secrecy. Ulster is full of reminders of the terrorism it has suffered for more than half the Queen's reign. The defence of the realm is the first duty of a state, so there has always been a specially close link between the sovereign and the armed forces. The programme for this rainy day includes presenting new colours to the Ulster Defence Regiment at its barracks in Lisbon.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we do consecrate and set apart these colours, that they may be a sign of our duty towards our Queen and our country, in the sight of God.
Stands for those who are not prepared to stand by and let evil prosper. I salute your courage, your sense of duty, and your resolve. Together with a determination which I share, that terrorism cannot be allowed to win.
The afternoon is devoted to civilians, a garden party, also in the rain, and a visit to a hospice in North Belfast, where the Queen is to open the new wing.
Claire, when Her Majesty the Queen is just standing at your feet. Claire, his understanding's a bit limited, so she'll probably not respond.
No.
Yes. But we've told her, and she's been chatting this morning quite a bit, which has been a pleasure to us, because for days she can go without saying anything.
Yes, just sometimes she talks and other times she doesn't say anything for days. That's the way it goes on.
It's very nice that she perhaps knows that I've been
Yes,
here.
yes. And she was this morning talking quite a bit, so I'm sure the news and what we were sharing has had some impact on that.
Where do you live?
Just not far away, 5 miles. The Jordanstown I live.
I do.
Yes.
Mrs. Arlene Thompson and mother and daughter as nursing auxiliaries, Betty and Andrea Martin.
There I see, family. That's very nice, isn't it?
I never thought I would really live to see this day, and I'm most honoured.
Well, it's very nice that I could.
Didn't think I would have lasted the 3 weeks, you see.
She's just lovely.
The surprise visit to the province lasted 6 hours. 2 days later, it's still the main talking point at Holyrood.
So amused, I suddenly saw you at lunch. And I thought, well, that's odd. He never told me he was going to be in Northern Ireland, and then I suddenly remembered that he didn't know I was going to be there either.
I had no idea. No, it was an amazingly well-kept secret. It really was.
You know, because everything in Northern Ireland, it isn't just being a soldier. It affects all the families.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can be shot at any minute, day or night, as two people were on just that day.
No.
Quite awful. It's a kind of sort of terrible...
Really tremendous boost. When they actually heard you were coming, a quarter of an hour before they marched on Bray, and they were told, and an absolute horrendous cheer. Wow. Yeah, so delighted. Really delighted.
It's in high summer that the gardens of Buckingham Palace are at their best. But indoors, the routine of the working year must go on. The Queen is doing her boxes, the official papers that over the years have given her a unique knowledge of confidential government business.
Most people have a job and then they go home. And in this existence, the job and the life go on together because you can't really divide it up. The boxes and the communications just keep on coming. And of course, with modern communications, they come even quicker. I mean, luckily I'm a quick reader, so I can get through a lot of reading in quite a short time. Though I do rather begrudge some of the hours that I have to do instead of being outdoors.
G7, the Western Economic Summit, the big event of the summer, and Britain's turn to be host to 6 visiting heads of government. It's 12 years since James Callaghan was Prime Minister, but the palace reception brings together present and past, left wing and right, home politicians and overseas statesmen.
How are you?
Very well.
Nice to see you again.
Well, you've been keeping me working very hard. My wife has been busy shopping.
Hey, I'm sorry. We've had to work in very hard because he is a finance minister, and finance ministers have to work very hard.
Vous connaissez tout le monde dans le
Oui, pratiquement.
Et vous connaissez Monsieur Heath encore.
Bien, merci à vous.
Monsieur Prime Minister, how are you? Very nice to see you again. I very much enjoyed our talk the other day. Ma'am, how are you? Lovely to see you. We're looking forward to my visit to Japan.
Summer school again this year. But I'm quite pleased because I managed to fund it from the sale of my own lithographs of my paintings. So at least I feel I've earned it.
And I was absolutely blunt with him, and I told him the situation. But nobody else went and told him this. Now I got a message back that he rather wishes he'd listened to my advice.
Yeah. He paid no attention to anything.
No, I just wonder so much. Is he? I mean, he is master of his own situation, is he?
Absolutely.
He really is.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, it's very interesting, isn't it, to have somebody who's been
morally, nominally, and every way else defeated.
The more we try to ram it in, the more his people will support him.
These 40 years of separation, of division.
Die unterschiedliche Pädagogik.
The difference in education,
it's the human attitude. And the most difficult thing in politics is to change attitudes.
You didn't tell him.
No, I told
Face to face.
Tariq Aziz in 6 hours, exactly that. And also, we told him exactly what would happen if they didn't. And that's what happened.
You didn't tell him face to face.
No, but he couldn't. He couldn't go to Baghdad like
Why
you
not,
could.
ma'am? I went to Baghdad.
Well, I know you did. You're expendable now.
Criticize. Yes, I'm expendable. Yes, that's
You're
true.
expendable. He couldn't go to Baghdad at that moment.
There are lots of people who would like to be Secretary of State.
Start lining up, I think.
Are we line up?
Yes.
Are we going to have another photo
session?
Photo
No, I
session?
don't think so.
The boys
Boys
line
only.
up.
The boys line up.
The spouses only line up.
The big one.
"5,000 miles from Buckingham Palace, 42 presidents and prime ministers are driving through the night to meet the Queen. It's a far cry from the wealthy group of 7. This is Harare in Zimbabwe, where the Commonwealth heads of government are in conference. The Queen, as head of the Commonwealth, presides over a group of 50 independent nations, about a quarter of the world's population. It's a sort of British Empire old boys club. You don't have to be rich to belong.
Your Majesty, when Malaysia was under British rule, we had British advisors whose advice must be obeyed. We also had Malay sultans who were designated by the British as the rulers, but of course they may not rule. Our parliaments are presided over by Mr. Speakers who may not speak. So it is not strange that we have a commonwealth where the wealth is not common.
During the conference, which takes place every 2 years, the Queen holds a private audience with each of the heads of government. Many of them are old friends, but tonight there's an unexpected guest at the party.
We're on to sport, Your Majesty, that's most important.
This is the first time the Queen has met Nelson Mandela.
Well, I was speaking to Prime Minister Major. Sorry. I was speaking to Prime Minister Major on telephone, and he made a few remarks on sanctions and investment. But the greater part of our speeches was on cricket.
Sport will be the first thing, isn't it? Which will
that's what we're discussing here.
Yes. The Americans proved that, didn't they? When Nixon went over to China, he started the ping pong.
Yes,
that's right. Please, I'm early in the morning.
Somebody asked me, had I been to Africa before? Which was nice of them to ask, but I did say that I had been everywhere in the Commonwealth in Africa and in other countries in Africa. I think I've seen more of Africa than almost anybody.
It's time for the holidays. Time for the Highlands.
Well, I suppose Balmoral is a place one looks forward to very much as the summer goes on. I think that it has an atmosphere of its own. You just hibernate. But it's rather nice to hibernate for a bit when one leads such a very movable life. To be able to sleep in the same bed for 6 weeks is a nice change. Now, are we going to get on?
Are we going
Usually?
When are we leaving?
Pony trekking with their grandmother are Prince William and Prince Harry, Zara Phillips and the young Princess Beatrice.
You know, sadly we didn't have a gymkhana like we had last year. We were just too busy killed. There is, I suppose, a certain fascination in keeping the place as Queen Victoria had it. Nothing very much has changed. And I think, luckily, all the children like it. All the grandchildren like it. And they sense the freedom there, I think, too. You can go out for miles and never see anybody, and you can walk or ride. And it's endless possibilities. And we like picnics, and we like open air. And as the holidays are very short, you live it to the full, I think. Well, they go farther than we can. And they also go faster.
Get away.
Can I come? Well, one day you will, yes. No. When you're a bit bigger.
No,
well, let's follow it. We'll follow. Say, come on, Smokey.
Come on, Smokey.
Come on. Yeah.
The Prime Minister has been on his travels, halfway around the world in 10 days. Now he comes to Balmoral for the first time to report to the Queen, as Prime Ministers have done each summer since the days of Queen Victoria.
Nice to see you.
Hello, lovely to see you.
Very nice to see you.
Welcome to
Nice to see you again.
Very nice to see you.
Very nice to be here.
Political power passed from the sovereign to the Prime Minister long ago. But the Queen still has the right to be consulted, to encourage and to warn. The Prime Minister's royal consultant now has 40 years' experience of affairs of state to share with him, as he treads in the footsteps of Margaret Thatcher, James Callaghan, Wilson, Heath, Douglas Hume, Macmillan, Eden, and Winston Churchill. The Queen's first audience with the Prime Minister was with Churchill in February 1952, when John Major was 8 years old.
The feeling in Moscow in the period I was there was just astonishing. It was actually like living with history. One was in the middle of a meeting and somebody burst into a room and said, I've just finished talking to Gorbachev or Yeltsin or Silayev, and this is what they're going to do. And tomorrow in the Congress we're going to present these particular plans. It was an extraordinary day.
It's gone so quickly, certainly here one can't take it in, but there it must be even more traumatic, mustn't it?
Well, it was absolutely amazing. I laid a wreath near the Kremlin, at the site where the 3 demonstrators were crushed and killed. And there were huge crowds there. And I had the opportunity of stopping to talk to some of them. Not too many of them spoke English. Well, I found one man who spoke beautiful English, and I asked him how he felt. And he said he was extremely interested, but he came from Woking.
That's the sort of thing that happens to me when I talk in a crowd, you know. But I have had quite a lot of Prime Ministers, starting with Winston, and some stayed longer than others. They unburden themselves, or they tell me what's going on, or if they've got any problems. And sometimes one can help in that way too.
But we had quite a few exchanges on other matters as well that we must come to.
Yes. They know that one can be impartial, so to speak. I think it's rather nice to feel that one's a sort of a sponge. And everybody can come and tell one things. And some things stay there, and some things go out the other ear, and something's never come out at all. One just knows about it, you know. And occasionally you can be able to put one's point of view, which perhaps they hadn't seen it from that angle.
It was mainly the heavily subsidised gas supplies in parts of Europe that caused the difficulties 3 or 4 years ago. It's a magnificent display.
He's a very good plantsman, the gardener. He keeps it very tidy too. This is their shed, and that's one of the garden house we've just done up. And before you could say knife, the gardener had gone. And so it's empty, sadly.
Soon it will be autumn, and time to return to London for another state opening of Parliament. In Balmoral, neighbours, estate and royal family join together for a farewell celebration, the Gillies Ball. The year has turned full circle.
If you live in this sort of life, which people don't very much, you live very much by tradition and by continuity. I find that's one of the sad things, that people don't take on jobs for life. They try different things all the time. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know exactly what you're going to be doing 2 months hence, or even beginning to know about next year. And I think that this is what the younger members find difficult, is the regimented side of it. You have to sort of work out in your own mind the hard work, and then what you enjoy in retrospect from it, of the people you've met. Like the small soldier I was giving a gallantry award to, and I said that was a very brave thing to do. Oh, he said it was just the training. And I have a feeling that in the end, probably, the training is the answer to a great many things. You can do a lot if you're properly trained. And I hope I have been.